At a secret government dockyard, two men, Fleming and Kolchak, wait in the shadows. They watch as the third man climbs down some scaffolding onto a submarine. As the man steps onto the observation deck, Kolchak leaps out of the darkness and strangles his unsuspecting victim.
Death on the Slipway. Written by James Mitchell, produced by Leonard White and directed by Peter Hammond.
At Dr. Keel's surgery, Steed receives a message from the department. He is to investigate the death of a fellow agent who has been working undercover at a government dockyard. A nuclear submarine is under construction at the yard, and Steed's superiors fear that a foreign power is plotting to steal secret documents stored there. Steed must go undercover there, posing as a metallurgist, in order to investigate the death and prevent any potential theft. Steed arrives at the dockyard to be greeted by government official Sir William Bonner, manager Sam Pearson, and Liz Wells, secretary to Fleming, the personnel manager. Steed appears to convince them of his credentials, but finds his investigation hampered by the police, in the shape of Inspector Georgeson and his team, who are conducting their own inquiries into the death. Steed begins his work, but Liz is not entirely convinced of his story. He seems a little too nosy. Meanwhile, Kolchak, the enemy agent, is posing as a labourer at the yard and recognises Steed as an old foe. Kolchak intends to steal the plans for the submarine's nuclear reactor. Realising that Steed is there to find him, Kolchak arranges for an accident with a falling oil drum to dispose of Steed, but he misses. Steed realises he has been spotted. Kolchak then lunges at Steed and attempts to strangle him. The pair struggle. Ultimately, Steed fights the enemy agent off and escapes back to his hotel room. Kolchak realises he has to move fast to prevent Steed exposing him. He has blackmailed Fleming into helping him, knowing that Fleming had avoided prosecution for a road accident a year before, where he had killed a child while driving in a drunken state. Kolchak has threatened to tell the authorities about the incident unless Fleming cooperates. He orders Fleming to place a briefcase on board the submarine during his inspection tour the next day. The briefcase will contain a bomb. When Steed arrives at his hotel room, he finds it is already occupied by Liz Wells. She has found out his address, convinced he is a private eye hired to spy upon her affair with Sir William. Steed explains his real intentions and his theory that someone at the dockyard is helping the enemy, who he has now recognised as Kolchak. His suspicions have fallen on Fleming, and he asks Liz if there is anything that could be used to force Fleming to help Kolchak. Liz tells Steed the story of Fleming's road accident. She knows about it, as she was Fleming's lover at the time. Steed thinks the accident is ideal blackmail material and resolves to return to the dockyard the next day in order to keep a close watch on Fleming. The following morning, Fleming arrives with the briefcase, which has been prepared by Kolchak. Steed is already there, and, having realised that matters are coming to a head, has revealed his true identity to Inspector Georgeson. The police post a constable to guard the entrance to the submarine, hoping to spot any suspicious activity. The PC allows Fleming on board after checking his identity and notices the briefcase. In Fleming's office, Liz is called on by Kolchak. He has spotted her talking to Steed and suspects that she knows what he's up to. Kolchak grabs Liz. She tries to resist, but is quickly subdued by the experienced agent, who imprisons her in a cupboard. When the bomb goes off, it will cause the reactor to explode. Anyone at the dockyard will perish when the base is destroyed. By this time, Kolchak will be long gone with the plans in his possession. As Kolchak locks the cupboard door, Pardo, one of Inspector Georgeson's men, enters. Kolchak knocks the man unconscious and escapes, leaving Liz struggling in the cupboard. Fleming hides the briefcase on board the submarine and finishes his inspection. The constable on duty notices that Fleming seems nervous leaving the sub and spots that the briefcase has disappeared. He informs Steed and Inspector Georgeson about the briefcase, and Steed realises it may be a bomb. He goes alone to the sub and searches around, eventually finding the briefcase on a shelf. Steed has no idea when it might explode. Hearing noises from Fleming's office, Georgeson and his men discover the unconscious Pardo and effect Liz's release from the cupboard. They realise they must wait until Steed returns and can only hope that he has dealt with the suspected bomb. Steed very carefully removes the briefcase from the shelf and returns to the sub's upper deck, but is surprised by Kolchak, who has a gun trained on him. However, Fleming has sneaked up on Kolchak and, in an effort to redeem himself, knocks the gun from Kolchak's hand. It goes off, and the bullet hits Fleming. Steed quickly throws the briefcase into the water, where it explodes, harming no one. Liz stares in horror at the mortally wounded Fleming as Steed and the police lead Kolchak away. Back at the surgery, Keel returns. He is surprised to find his friend Steed asleep on the examination couch. The agent has clearly had an exhausting day.